Hello everybody and welcome back to Cities Skylines 2, where we are kind of chilling for the moment. We do have a fair amount of additional space that we can develop out over this way. So for the moment, that's largely what we're doing. Although, we probably should zone some of this as being row housing, since there is some demand for that. So let's get some of that zoned. We'll just get like this area over here zoned up as row housing to about there or so, and I think we missed a little bit out over here. So we'll get that going for now. There's a fair amount of light housing over here still, but it feels like we're going to need more. So we're going to zone up this right over here for now to about that point or so. And we'll get that with light residential. Okay. So that's quite a lot going in there. This is abandoned due to the noise pollution. I don't know what's going on with the noise pollution. It seems weird. We talked about that fairly extensively last episode. If we look at the noise pollution map, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you would expect that the highways would be like emitting noise and things like the police station and the elementary school and things like that. And that is definitely happening with the police station. But how do we explain things like this? I don't know. I still don't know, and for now we're just going to get rid of that, and we're going to pretend it doesn't exist. That will be absolutely fine for the moment. There's still a little bit of industrial demand that we could actually get put in here. So we could, I suppose, zone this area up as industrial. And I'm going to do that. We'll get that going. We'll see how that ends up going. What is that? Office demand? Ooh, okay. We've got some office space out over here, though. So I don't think we need to zone anymore. We've got plenty of office space down this way. That should be absolutely fine for the moment. The smog is just unbearable. Someone should really deal with all of this hashtag air pollution. Let's take a look at the hashtag air pollution. Yes, it's right here. That's expected. That is the pollution zone. So that's absolutely fine. The pollution zone will just spread out over this way. I mean, it clips this little bit of residential area. This should not be residential. And then we've got this like government area over here. So for now, that's all reasonably fine. I'm not too concerned about any of that. What do we have going on down here? Noise pollution. Small homes, lack of entertainment over here. Interesting. So what do we have going on for parks here? Okay, we could definitely put a park here. That'll help. Of course, these are our very few high-density homes, so we'll get a few more of those built eventually, but that will take some time. This is noise pollution, walking distance to elementary school, unreliable healthcare coverage, and high noise pollution. So the noise pollution is not surprising, being right next to the highway like this. This makes complete and total sense. I'm not shocked about that one. The walking distance to elementary school and unreliable healthcare coverage. So where is the nearest elementary school? We have plenty of elementary capacity. It's just distance being the problem. So we might want to set up something like buses. That might do the trick for that. So if we were to go for transportation here, yes, we could probably start to get buses put in. That's maybe not the worst idea. But for now, I'm not too concerned about that. Otherwise, it's pretty much just unreliable healthcare coverage. Now, how are we doing on that? Let's take a quick look. Okay, so we can see that we've got good healthcare availability and good crematorium availability. It's distance over here that is a bit of a problem. So medical clinic out over this way would not go amiss, or perhaps out over here would maybe be even better. We can put in a medical clinic over in this commercial area and call that good for now. So that'll do for the moment. Out over this way, we can see that the row housing, there's a lot of abandoned structures over here. And it is exclusively due to the mysterious noise, as far as I can tell. So there is that. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. There doesn't appear to be a source of the noise that is happening over here. It just seems to mysteriously infect random houses. Maybe all of those people that were waiting for hearses became poltergeists. That's the primary explanation that I can come up with at this point anyway. So that's all reasonably fine. This up over here is possibly affected by pollution.
What kind of future does music
Walking
have
distance
if it
to
doesn't look
elementary
its
school.
past?
Okay.
Well, I say the question
Not
speaks
this
for
one, though.
itself. Here on Second
Really?
Unit, we know
This is
that
at
we
minus
move
8
forward
for
unless
walking
we
distance to
keep
elementary
our
school.
steadily trained on what's
This
behind.
one is at minus 6.
And on to our
And then
main
this one
feature story.
is at plus 2.
The commercial district
That
is
is
booming as the area is
remarkable
attracting
how
more
quickly that
high-end
changes.
stores, bringing the latest
Where
in
is the nearest
luxury to
elementary
our
school?
neighborhood. You can now shop for designer shoes while sipping
That's a high school there. That's a college. This is an elementary school here.
That's good for business and good
Okay.
for the community.
Thanks.
Definitely
We'll be
noted.
back after this.
Plus 5% health for students isn't necessarily a bad thing. Ooh, that's big, though. Okay, that's a big attachment. So we're probably not going to do that one. Probably not. For the time being, I'm not too concerned about a couple of abandoned homes up over this way. I think that's reasonably fine. And I don't think that it's worth building another elementary school up over here, at least not yet. Although we could build one in the pollution zone. What could possibly go wrong? I'm sure it would be fine. We could definitely build one over here. Smack dab in the center of the pollution zone. I like it. Elementary schools belong in the middle of the pollution. Probably. Probably. So that's all looking relatively good for now. We don't have too much demand. I would like to start doing something about our waterfront. Unfortunately, every time we've tried, we immediately get floods internally, even though our roads are considerably higher than our water. And there's not a good way to remove water, we've learned. So, I also don't like what we've got going on here with Emerson Street. I'm going to rebuild this. But there's not a good way to remove water, and so... yeah, I definitely don't like what we've got going on here. Let's use the level terrain tool and just level this out over this way. It should be plenty high to keep the water out, in theory. And then we can use the slope terrain tool, grabbing this position here, and just sloping that in something like that. And then we can bring this in. Much better. Okay. So we can do something along the lines of that. And, I mean, we don't need, if we bring this down, we don't need these walls to be quite so high. We can definitely have them be somewhere around here for height instead. And that's, of course, going to be quite high out over this way. Let's get rid of those. That's going to be quite high out over this way. But we can choose a different height going down, like maybe at each one of these highways. So it would kind of make sense to have this be the new height here. I want to get rid of that. Okay. Ooh, I really don't like this. There we go. Cool. Now, there's a little bit of misbehaving water here. We should probably let that settle a bit before we do too much else over this way. But yeah, we definitely are a little concerned about attempting to make these riverbanks look decent. I'm quite concerned about that, actually. So for now, this is reasonably fine. Reasonably fine. I don't think we need to do too much additional expansion for now, although we are going to have our light residential filled up pretty soon here. This is, I believe, noise. Which makes sense. That high pause menu. That absolutely makes sense that there's noise over here by the highway. Do we have any traffic jams occurring right now? The answer to that appears to be no. Not at this moment. Okay. There is a traffic accident down over here. But it looks like it's getting taken care of. There's a police car there right now. So, no problem there, I think. We can definitely, I guess, while we're waiting for some things to happen, we can get rid of some of these left-hand turns. That's absolutely a good thing to do. Do we have left-hand turns here? It's hard to see, but I think we did. There we go. I don't know if we did here or not. Shadows make that kind of complicated to see. No left-hand turn here. And this is a correct turn. That looks good. So we can look at things like this, right? And start to eliminate some of these very awkward paths. There we go. We don't have to go around and do all of these, and I'm really only doing it because we kind of lack other things to do for the moment. We could expand additional meta blocks, but we don't really need them right now. So I think for the moment, this is kind of the best use of our time. Just going through these, at this point, we're starting to get into some of these newer ones. So we might want to head over like this direction. I mean, eventually we'll have all these taken care of, right? But we're probably going to keep finding them for a while. I think there's no real way around that. Unless I were to go through and check every single one, which I don't intend to do right now. We're just clearing up some of these here and there as we see them. Cool. So that all looks relatively fine for the moment. I'm sure there's more of these causing issues. That was one right there. I'm sure there are more of them, but this is okay. Cool. So we'll just do that for now. What time is it? It is 2:58. Okay. So we've got a little ways to go until like a rush hour type thing. We've got lack of labor in our commercial areas, and that is mostly regular labor, but there are some lack of high skill labors. Our education should be reasonably good. Maybe not college, necessarily, but, I mean, all of this should be reasonably good. We can definitely start to think about what mass transit might look like. I have no idea what that will look like, is the answer. Although maybe it would just be like a subway system that has, like, a subway stop around each of these roundabouts. That would be an interesting, like, demarcation point. How would a subway, like, a grid subway, though? That's a choice. I have no idea what that would work, how that would work. Do we even have subways unlocked right now? We have trains unlocked. No, we would have to unlock subways. So that's definitely a thing that we can do. Yeah. How big are these underground subway stations, I wonder? I don't know. We'd have to unlock them, and I don't think we have the points to do that right now. So we would need to go into transportation and unlock subway. Yeah, that's a ways away still. We'll definitely have to level up another time. So for now, that's reasonably fine. That is reasonably fine. Like I said, we're mostly just chilling right now. Ticking forward as quickly as we can. Things are going okay. They're not going perfectly, obviously. Although we're having less abandonment out over here, I feel like. That's good. I think we're having less abandonment in general, which is good. We can get rid of a couple of these. I expect that most of these are, at this point, going to be just that noise issue. And I don't think there's too much we can do about the noise issue, to be honest. I think it pretty much just is. Up here, we're starting to get into the pollution zone. But broadly, that's fine. The city is incredibly noisy. Yeah, you've been saying that this whole time, but honestly, it kind of isn't, though. I mean, there are a few areas that are. Like, for example, this up here. But that's expected, right? Like, that's absolutely fine. So it is definitely noted that things like colleges do produce a fair amount of noise. No doubt about that. But it's things like, is that a firehouse? Yeah, that's noted as well. It's things like, wait, is the problem solving itself? I think it might be. I'm not currently seeing any random houses that have no source of noise, but yet have noise pollution. It might just be related to construction, as I think about it. Maybe that emits noise. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it and see if the problem recurs. For the time being, I think it's relatively okay. So this is our education map here. Broadly, I think our education is okay. We have 17.6% of our people uneducated right now. 39% are poorly educated, 28% are educated, 9% are well educated, and 5.2% are highly educated. So, I mean, we definitely could use ramping those numbers up, but that's mostly just something that'll take time. So for now, that seems relatively good. No problem whatsoever there. We're ticking forward as fast as we can right now. There's a fire out over here. However, it looks like that's been dealt with. Fire engine is leaving. Excellent. Why did you collapse? Well, due to lack of maintenance, but the fire engine will be arriving over here soon enough. We don't want to bulldoze that while it's collapsed because we could still potentially, I think, salvage the population that lived inside. So that'll be absolutely fine. So many people are getting sick. Are they? Are they, though? Average health is 65%. So that number is probably a little on the low side. We may want to think about building something like a disease control center or a health research institute in our government areas. They're probably huge. Yes, this is indeed absolutely ginormous. We can put it in about right here. And that's pretty expensive. No doubt about that. So we're losing a little bit of money right now. That's fine. We can get this thing ready to go. And does that actually, what does that actually do? Minus 25% health effects from pollution and minus 25% disease infection risk. Okay, that's pretty neat. We're definitely okay with that. We also wouldn't necessarily mind a health research institute. Do we have a hospital? I think I built one somewhere. Or maybe we built one and determined that we weren't going to be able to utilize it. That's a possibility. We're using a lot of medical clinics right now. So I do think that a hospital somewhere up over this direction wouldn't be awful. We could just put it right here, or more specifically, like right here. It'll be a little expensive, and we'll continue to lose money for the moment. But we could definitely put in a hospital there. Upkeep of $160,000 per month for that health research institute. Okay, we could definitely put that in somewhere over this way. I actually don't like this position. Yeah, I don't like this position. It doesn't matter where we build this thing, ultimately, but we could put it in somewhere like here. I think this is a better spot for it. Okay, so that should be quite a lot of change, ultimately. Ooh, is this a traffic jam? This is a traffic jam. What do we got going on here? Pathfinding issues? Well, there's that fire truck coming through with its lights on. So there is that.
Stay off the streets until conditions improve. This has been a local public service announcement.
And now it's getting passed by a sedan.
Second moon radio classic.
Okay. Ironic. But sure. That's reasonably fine. So what do we have going on here? So we've got a lot of people coming in from the south and a lot of people coming in from over in the east. And the people from the south will have right-of-way coming through here. No doubt about that. But do we think there's actually an issue here?
But let us not
I'm not convinced that there is. But there might be. Well, this guy trying to go out this direction is an issue.
There's no sinking
It's
this
lane
boat,
changing
remember?
that's the issue here. So ultimately this comes down to pathfinding, right?
We're getting reports about
Like
traffic
any of these lanes can exit to any of these
somewhere,
lanes.
in the
I don't know
city.
why they're so obsessed with lane changing here. Like, you don't have to go into this lane, bud. Now, it seems reasonably fine. I mean, we are getting quite a backup over this way.
You already know about it. No use reminding you.
No doubt about it.
Meanwhile,
But I
expect
don't
delays and
think
prices.
it's an actual issue. I think that this is just a pathfinding issue. I think that we've got plenty of throughput here. If we didn't have situations like this oil truck and then this taxi behind it, Like, the oil truck was trying to get in here, right? Fair enough. The taxi behind it trying to lane change, and essentially them forcing themselves into using just this lane? I don't know. That's the problem. That's why there's a traffic backup. I have no idea why they're obsessed with only using the left lane here. Like, why are you doing this? Why is everyone in the right lane moving into the left lane? What possible reason is there to do this? Let's watch this guy. So he goes around the roundabout, he enters the roundabout, and then he exits the roundabout going south. But you could do that from either lane. You absolutely can do that from either lane. So I'm not 100% certain why they are so obsessed. I guess if we look at this, we can see that this is saying that this is the left turn lane and this is the right lane. And nobody's trying to go north. I think that's what the core issue is here. Can we adjust that? The answer is no. We don't appear to be able to change this at all. So I think this is one of those situations where ultimately is a pathfinding issue. But if we were to bring this up to a 6-lane road, that might, I would want to do this a little further back, that might solve the problem. So it would end up being something kind of like that. And what that ends up doing is that gives us an additional going straight through lane right here. Because you can see based on the painting on the road, the lane markers, if these guys would ever move out of here, it'll take a little bit of time. But you can see that this is marked as turning to the north, and this is marked as turning to the south. Most of these people want to go to the south, so that's why they were trying to pathfind into this lane, and the backup comes through when we're trying to combine 2 lanes of traffic into 1 lane. That's where it comes through from. So just having this additional lane to work with is going to change things for us. Just in the way that the pathfinding ends up working. Now, it'll still take time for them to get into their desired lanes. But we should start moving reasonably here. Ish. Reasonably-ish. Yeah, basically, well, there are people going out this direction. But no one going this way is staying in this center lane at this point. They're only getting in this lane if they're trying to go this way. Although that was a center laner that went this way. Interesting. Yeah, I really think that it comes down to poor pathfinding with roundabouts. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. I don't think this is a fundamental issue. And we could just move this lane back a little bit to just get ourselves a little bit more space to work with the different lanes here. I'm wondering, do we want to move it all the way back to here? I think so. That'll give us a little bit more throughput in this area, but I really don't think throughput is the issue. I really think that the issue here is just trying to combine the lanes of traffic together for no reason at all, since all of the lanes can go all of the directions. But that's not the way it's implemented here. Like, you can see here that all of the lanes can go any direction that they want. They will have to cross other lanes of traffic, but the lanes do exist to go any direction. They just don't pathfind it that way, because this is read as a going straight only lane, this is read as a straight or going north lane, and this is read as a straight or going south lane. And most of these people want to go south, so that is why they are all trying to get into this lane. That is a flaw with the design of the roundabout. Not something that we did, that is a flaw with the design of the game, specifically. So that pathfinding issue would need to get fixed, but we can brute force it a little bit by going up to a 3-lane roundabout, and that gives us just enough throughput to squeak through, at least for now. The real solution to that will probably be to get mass transit going. What do we got going on up over here? Same thing? Likely the same thing. Of course, this only happens during rush hour, so there is that as well. But arguably, we should upgrade this road too. So that would be about here, 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 and that slope too steep. Okay, what are you trying to do? Ah, I see. Yeah, that would be slope too steep. That is a very steep slope. Let's take this out of here for now. And I'm going to rebuild it from here up to here. There we go. So it'll take a little bit to figure out the pathfinding, but the additional throughput will clear this up eventually. So that'll be fine. I want to check in on the one that was over here. Where was that? Here. This is definitely clearing up. It will take a little bit longer, but the additional throughput will do the trick eventually. So that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Like I said, I think the real ultimate solution to this is Colossal Order fixing the way that the roundabout pathfinding is done. But for us, our solution to it would be either getting like a traffic manager style mod. I don't know if that exists yet. That'd be great if it did. Or the other solution would be building mass transit. So those are pretty much the options. At this point, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to keep an eye on some of these traffic issues. And we're probably... I do see there's a jam down over here as well. Okay. Arguably, what we need to do here is we need to take this down a lane, ironically. We need to take this down a lane here, so that this is now a dedicated merge. And that should clear up. Much better. We probably want the same thing over on this side, so we would do something about like that. There we go. And now all of this traffic that is attempting to go this way will have a dedicated merge lane, and that's going to clear up a lot faster now. So that'll be good. It is time to put that cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we'll keep an eye on this traffic, and we'll think about mass transit. But we can't really get that until we go up another level here, so we'll see what that goes. How much are we actually going to get from this next milestone? We're going to get, like, 17? Okay, yeah, that's quite a lot. So that'll be fine. We'll have that very, very soon. Maybe even just restarting the game, because oftentimes that seems to happen. We'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.